So, when you hear the word elder in a church context, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For a lot of us, it's probably an official title, right? Maybe a position on a board, someone with some real authority. But what if I told you that our common understanding might be a huge departure from what the word originally meant? Let's dive into the source material for this explainer and check out the case it makes for a totally different view.
And this, right here, is the million-dollar question. The material we're digging into today argues that there are two fundamentally different ways to see this role, and that the difference between them has some pretty major consequences. Is elder a job title you get appointed to, or is it just a description of who someone already is? Okay, so let's put these two ideas side by side. On one hand, you've got the popular belief. An elder is an official position, an office. It comes with authority. But on the other hand, this source argues it's way, way simpler than that. An elder is just a description of the head of a family, the patriarch, the one responsible for his own household. The difference is massive, right? One is a title you get, the other is a role you live. To really figure this out, we've got to go back to the original languages. We have to be detectives here. The whole argument really hinges on how two key words got translated, one from Greek and the other from Hebrew. Let's see what they can tell us.
All right, first up is the word from the Greek New Testament, presbyteros. Now, what's so crucial here is that its main definition has nothing to do with an office. It literally just means old man or the eldest man of a family. According to this view, the meaning is totally tied to age and family structure, not some institutional hierarchy.
And get this wasn't some rare, obscure term. It shows up over 60 times in the New Testament. That kind of frequency suggests its meaning was just common knowledge. It was a straightforward way to describe the senior man in a family, who could then be chosen for positions of service, not top-down rule. Now, let's jump over to the Old Testament and see how this pattern holds up. The Hebrew word is zaken, and guess what? It carries the exact same core meaning. Old man, specifically in the context of a family. This consistency across both testaments, well, that's a really important piece of the puzzle here. And check this out. The word zaken appears over 170 times. I mean, when you put that together with its Greek counterpart, you're looking at an overwhelming pattern. The whole idea of an elder seems to be fundamentally rooted in the family, not in some formal religious institution. Okay, so if elder just describes the head of a family, then how did the early community actually get organized? The source material lays out a model that is, well, it's radically different from a lot of modern churches. It's all about service, not a top-down chain of command. So here's how it apparently worked. It was completely decentralized. Families, the core unit of society, would get together in small groups. The elder, the father of each family, would represent them. And then, together, these elders would pick out ministers, which really just means servants, to handle the community's needs, like taking care of the poor. You see, the power stayed with the families, not some centralized board. And the source points to passages like this one as a really clear warning against creating the exact kind of hierarchies we often see today. The instruction was pretty explicit. Those top-down, authority-based models of the world where some people lorded over others, yeah, you're not supposed to do that. This difference in thinking even affects how you take care of people. The early church model was all about voluntary charity, about free will offerings. But the model of the world or the state relies on these so-called benefactors, rulers who provide welfare through what are basically compelled offerings, or taxes. The key difference, according to the source, is that one system is built on liberty and the other is built on force. So the big question is, how could a simple, descriptive word like elder get so twisted into an office of power? Well, the source brings up this fascinating historical parallel from ancient Rome that shows exactly how this kind of thing can happen. Let's talk about the Roman Senate for a second. The word Senate actually comes from senex, which is just Latin for, you guessed it, old man. Sound familiar? It started way back in 753 BC as just an advisory council of family heads. They had no legal power. But over hundreds of years, as you can see, their advice slowly turned into binding law, taking the natural authority of individual fathers and consolidating it into a powerful state office. And that, the source argues, is the exact same path the term elder followed. A simple description of a family head was slowly, maybe unintentionally, transformed into an institutional office of power. It's the same story, just a different setting. Okay, so this has been a really cool dive into history and language. But so what? What are the real-world stakes?
Why does this difference between a description and an office actually matter for us today?
Well, according to this view, the consequences are actually pretty severe. When elder becomes an office, all the power and responsibility gets piled onto just a few people, and it kind of lets everyone else off the hook. It can weaken the family by taking away the father's role as a community leader. Kids then grow up seeing their dads as just passive spectators instead of active leaders. And ultimately, it can turn a living, breathing community into just another scheduled event on the calendar, totally detached from the daily practice of actually caring for one another.
So, we come right back to the main point, the core thesis of all this. The source material is crystal clear in its conclusion. An elder isn't a title you achieve inside an institution. It's simply a description of a fundamental, God-given role, the head of a family.
And that leaves us with one last thing to chew on. If this view is right, if being an elder isn't about getting a title, but about embracing the responsibility you might already have as the head of your household, then what changes? What would change for you, for your family, and for your entire community? It's a pretty big question.